Hi everybody, I'm Jason. This is my first time in Istanbul. I'm pretty excited to be here, despite a really bad head cold. What I thought I would do is tell you quickly about Qualcomm Ventures. And then since it's a conference based around growth, I thought I'd share a couple of examples from inside of our portfolio. So Qualcomm Ventures, we were set up in 2000 to do investments primarily in the mobile space. If you don't know Qualcomm, the parent company, we're the largest wireless chipset company in the world. And without the stuff that we make, your phone is kind of a very expensive calculator. So just a brief overview of the fund itself. Original $500 million allocation. There are 20 of us globally. We're investing about $100 million annually across the globe. There are only 2 of us here in Europe. We've made 18 investments so far, and we've exited, I think, 4 of those. So this is just a couple of logos that you may recognize. Waze and Fitbit are two of the better known ones. We sold Waze to Google last summer for a little over $1 billion. I was pretty excited about that. So thinking about how you can grow your business, I've gone through and pulled out examples from the various portfolio companies. How many people in the room have actually seen this chart? Hands? Yeah, okay, we've got some Android developers out there. So these guys, a company called OpenSignal based in London, and they don't actually do anything with Android development or fragmentation, etc. What they do is signal strength and the quality of cellular service in any given region, and they launched initially on Android. So they had all of this data on Android handsets, screen sizes, sensors, battery life, maker, et cetera, et cetera. And they were trying to create some buzz around their business. And you know, this is a little 6-person business run out of East London. How are they going to have some kind of an impact globally on a tiny budget? And they'd raised a seed round. So they went through and they crunched their data, and they came up with this, this chart. And so this has been picked up and retweeted, republicized, et cetera. They've done this for 3 years now. And for the Android developers in the room, it's very clear from this picture, you only focus on the left-hand side of the graph, kind of diminishing returns on the right-hand side of the graph. So anyway, one idea for you, kind of publish some fun facts, whatever data you may have, go through, crunch it, and even if it's not your core business, you can still generate a lot of buzz around you, and people think, you know, hey, this is a smart company. They've gotten a lot of business off the back of this, even though this is not their core at all. So this is one of my recent games investments, and they're publishing smart stuff. It's a brain training company, and just last week they were in the Wall Street Journal. They've gone through, again, they've crunched some data, and I wonder if I can, So they have, you won't be able to see me, but the chart's important. What they have is skills by profession here, and you can see whether it's memory, language, mental agility, and focus. Those are the categories. I realize it's kind of dark. Doctor, teacher, lawyer, musician, hairdresser, chef, police officer, et cetera. You can see the various skill sets and how they apply to each of these professions. However, there's one at the very bottom that is super interesting. It is the software engineer in a class of its own. There are no other categories of professions that share the same kind of brain characteristics as a software engineer. So for all the engineers in the room, well done. Anyway, this is the type of stuff that got peak 3 weeks after launch in the Wall Street Journal. So again, going back, looking at your data, seeing if you can extract something that's interesting or novel, and communicating that with the journalists. So this company is called Blippar. They're based in London, and they've done an incredible job of hijacking their customers. And by hijack their customers, what I mean is, so Blippar as a service, you take your phone and you look at something. In this case, it's a Quaker Oats canister, or it's the Pizza Hut box. And actually, this is probably live. If you have Blippar running, you should be able to blip that and see Wolverine do something. So every poster or product that goes out has instructions on how to blip this ad and information to let you know that this is blippable. Blippar has spent $0 on marketing to get north of 5 million users. Zero. When I realized that was part of their go-to-market strategy, it made it very clear that we should write a check for this business. The Quaker Oats ad up there, this was actually on Twitter last week. Quaker Oats, I mean, I realize it's oatmeal, but they have 120,000 followers. So thank you, Quaker, for tweeting about Blippar, and everyone that buys Quaker Oats can now buy this, can now blip it. I think we're on like 1 billion physical products now. So again, if you can get your customers to promote you, kind of the old classic powered by at the bottom, whatever, try and leverage your customers to get some free distribution. This is another favorite of mine, going old school. So for those of you who've been to London, this is a picture of the Tube from London. The app is called Yplan. It's a going out app. I saw this everywhere in London before we invested. And one of my first questions to the CEO was, how much money are you spending on advertising? I see you everywhere. And his answer was very, very low tens of thousands of pounds. So sometimes going old school and just doing paper advertising in high-frequency locations actually makes a lot of sense. I mean, this is not expensive at all. And Yplan has raised a lot of money over the years. But if you're a very small startup, you can advertise on paper-based products. Also, I know Michael Acton Smith at Mind Candy pretty well. They have a product called Mushy Monsters. He found television advertising to be extremely helpful. And several of the UK-based startups, the CEOs that I've talked to, they've also said that television advertising is fantastic for driving downloads or customer acquisition, and not that expensive if you plan kind of when and where very carefully. So I'd suggest that you go old school if you possibly can. Okay, this is a good one. I didn't get any Pharrell when I came on stage. But again, CEO of Yplan. This was at the launch party in New York. We've had other celebrities that have worked with Blippar, which was the Quaker Oats, there was an album with Lady Gaga, and then Justin Bieber did some work with him as well. May not apply to your segment, but if you can hang out with celebrities, well, yeah, this is definitely newsworthy stuff. Yeah, this is a good one. So get to know Apple. CityMapper is an angel investment of mine, and my mouth literally fell open when I saw this a few weeks ago. This is the Apple Watch debut, and they're showcasing the company live in front of millions of people. Probably not everyone can get that slot, but I really recommend that if you're developing for iOS, start cultivating a relationship with Apple. If you don't have it, start now. An Apple relationship can literally transform your business. In case in point, the next slide. So I made a gaming investment, Supernauts, into a company called Grand Crew, based out of Helsinki, last spring. The company had been in touch with Apple for well over a year before they even began to launch the product. But on launch day, what do we have? Supernauts banner at the top of the App Store and in the best new games section, which drove 1 million downloads in the first week. So I can't understate or stress enough how much you should try and develop a relationship with Apple. It does pay dividends. The brain training company that I mentioned earlier, Peak, you can see them on your right. Again, they're featured at the top, and they're in the best new apps. And I was pretty excited. Again, this is Saturday morning, sitting there with a coffee, fire up the App Store, and I saw 3 of my portfolio companies featured on the App Store. That doesn't really happen every day. But getting to know Apple is absolutely fundamental. if you do have a consumer app and you're going to drive downloads, and it will save you thousands, if not millions, in advertising. So all of this stuff that I've shown you today, except for the old school advertising, has been free for all of these companies. So again, I hope some of this stuff applies to your business, and you can take some of these examples away and get some free advertising, get some free growth. That's it for me. Thanks.